The Breezies are the most adorable things ever.
You can do it, Breezies! Just a little quieter. You can do it, Breezies!
It Ain't Easy Being Breezies was an episode that I just had no choice but to look forward to, just for the sole fact that it was a Fluttershy episode. It centres around a pony species known as Breezies coming through Ponyville to get back to their home. So the episode starts off with a cold open with Fluttershy informing the ponies about the event that's coming up and teaching them how to cheer quietly, because apparently that's difficult to do. It reminds me of when Rainbow Dash was trying to teach Fluttershy how to cheer, but the other way around. I'd originally hoped that this episode would cover the small space of time Fluttershy was away in Western Equestria observing the Breezies, but I was delightfully surprised at this episode. Yep. Pinkie being hyperactive but controlled, Fluttershy being adorable as ever. Okay, we seem to be on track. So what I can only assume to be a few hours later that day, there's some kind of festival or celebration going on at the point where the Breezies are passing through. I really don't like the idea of two Pegasi capable of creating a breeze that reaches for miles, as it seems just a tad illogical and physically impossible. But then again, we are talking about a world in which horses with a very low wingspan seem to be able to fly, and able to control clouds and stand on them. So maybe it's not the best time to focus on the physics of it. So disaster strikes, as it always does, when Spike climbs atop a tree and cuts off the Breezy's flight with a leaf that dislodged when Spike was jumping around. Okay, Spike has always been the centre of the show's comic relief, but it's never actually caused problems for anybody.
So, with Twilight's blessing, I am free to follow my code and serve you until... well, until forever!
Don't talk to me about that episode, give me nightmares and... Good episode, totally out of character. Normally I don't go into full-blown rants about episodes of a cartoon show for little kids, but if it's an episode as bad as this, just try to fucking stop me. So, the Breezies have to stay in town for a little while to gain their strength back before attempting the journey again. Only, Fluttershy seems to have gotten a little bit attached to the tiny little bastards. Every time they're ready to leave, the Breezies can't seem to let go of her. I find this to be a good way of portraying them as a group, like tiny children, babies if you will, hugging onto their mother, which in this case is Fluttershy, who always seems to fill that role rather nicely, in my opinion. Over time, Seabreeze becomes more and more annoyed at this attitude, and attempts to fly at home on his own, but the breeze is too strong and he gets pulled away into a hive of angry bees.
Oh no, not the bees! Not the bees! Ah! Open my eyes!
Right, so after Fluttershy saves them using the infamous stare, I think, on the bees and some angry talk after no other method works, even the... So, Fluttershy's eyes vomit the colour spectrum after she realises that firmness is the only way that she'll be able to ensure the Breezies' safety, because keeping them in the house, she thought she was being kind, but while doing so, she was keeping them from their home, and the kind thing would have been, ironically, to be forceful.
I've been studying an old spellbook from the Castle of the Two Sisters.
You know what? Can I say it? That would be fine. Yeah. Continuity! So Twilight uses a transformation spell to do something fucking awesome. They're all turned into Breezies to help the others make it back to their home, and with just minutes to spare too. As it turns out, Seabreeze actually has a family and a child. The main six has to leave, but not before Seabreeze gives Fluttershy a flower to remember her. And as it turns out, this flower is Fluttershy's key. Just before we go anywhere, I just want to say to a certain friend of mine that I fucking called it. So, ending remarks. This episode was great. The Breezy design was very similar to that of G3, while managing to make it less creepy. I'm gonna give this episode a 9 out of 10. There are no blaring flaws, and it's a nice new lesson for Flutters, other than be more assertive. That's always nice. So, I like this episode. And if it's not the most adorable episode of the entire show, then I don't know what is. Do you like game reviews? Do you like Sonic? Well, do I have a surprise for you. A friend of mine, Geeky Steven, he just posted his first video, a review of Rayman Origins, edited by yours truly. So, if you want to go over to see that, click on this annotation right here. This one, on my face. Okay, and it's gone. You happy?